One is that in the beginning when I walk in and it's mavat a little bit of Torah, that's only in the beginning. In other words, once we get used to how to do the computer, Bez Hashem, it'll go smooth. Today you see it went smooth. It caused less bittul Torah. So Bez Hashem, that's one thing. Bitul is kiyuma. That's how it goes. That's number one. Number two is that I'm going to put the computer today on the table so that you guys will also try to be a little bit more a part of the shiur. Don't worry. I haven't forgotten you guys. Don't think that because you're just behind the computer screen, I love you guys any less. It's not the case. That's number two. Number three is that somebody said to me that I was mechazik the men yesterday. The men need the chizik. The men need the chizik to come out. The men don't need the chizik to come out the koil. The men are dying to leave the house. That's what I was told. I thought, that taka. That's what I thought. I thought that you need the chizik because you got so used to learning in the haim, and it says, we know, you say in the pasuk, you say the haim the haim in the house. It's impossible to learn. So now we got used to learning in the house, and Mamela, I thought that everybody had a hard time leaving the house, but I was told it's not like that. I was told that no. What are you giving chizik to the men for? This is what I was told by a lot of the smiling faces here. And then you should give chizik to the ladies. So I'll tell you one thing to give you maybe a little bit of chizik. There's a Gemara that I saw the other day, which is a very famous Gemara. Everybody knows the Gemara. The Gemara says about Hillel, a very famous Gemara. Where's the Gemara? Famous Gemara. The Gemara says that Hillel went to the Beis Medrash. And what happened? He didn't have enough money to get into the Beis Medrash. So what did Hillel do? Hillel went to the roof, and the background noise is okay? Yeah, is the background noise okay? You guys, it's better now, right?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah? It's fine.
Okay. I'm trying to pretend like I have shaykhs to them still, so they don't feel bad. Okay. So Hillel went to the roof, and he sat and learned. And it's time interesting. There was nowhere else he could find to listen to the shiur except from the roof. Okay, interesting. Okay, but anyways, so he went to the roof, and by the morning, you know what happened? That Hillel was turned into an ice cube. Hillel turned into, and Kitzer, they took him. They said Kedai l'chal of Shabbos, and they went and they put him inside hot water. Bishul on Shabbos, they boiled up the snow and everything. But it was pikuach nefesh, so they saved Hillel. They saved Hillel's life. No, so I had a kasha. I don't know if it's such a kasha because I didn't see anybody ask the kasha, but Maisa, here he was. And he must have told his wife, look, I'm going to the Beis Medrash, and whatever, I'll be home soon. Right? I'll be home soon. But my stomach, it doesn't say over there that Hillel, he went to learn for 12 years. There's Gemara's exubis about people that went to learn for 12 years and 24 years. And everything. But it seems to be over there, that's not the case, because otherwise it's a little bit weird. What did Hillel think? He's going to stay there for 12 years, for 24 years? So obviously it's talking that he lived at home. And, so my kasha is like this. So he must have told his wife before he left, I'm going out to learn. Okay, what's a normal thing? It's already 12 o'clock at night. Mrs. Hillel should have started getting nervous. Where's my husband? Where is he? It's already 12 o'clock at night. Okay, 1 o'clock at night. No, maybe he got caught up in a shver b'kiveiger or something, or a shver beishamai or something. But where is my husband? It's already 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. No husband. Where was Mrs. Hillel? So what's the answer? The answer is it's a vaytzachos. It's not such kasha. Mrs. Hillel, this wasn't the first time ever that Hillel went to the Beis Medrash. What do you think? It's like the first time ever that Hillel went to the Beis Medrash and didn't come home the whole night. He got caught up in Beis Hillel. It was a kasha. So Mela, she didn't think 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. For Hillel, that was a normal thing. So she didn't even have a kasha. Mistama, that's the answer. So she didn't have a kasha. In the morning, they realized that Hillel was stuck on the roof, in the icebox, and they went and he probably came into the house. And she probably said to him, Shalom Aleichem, how's it going? Good. Anything new? No. And weiter. I know what the pshat. The pshat is that she was such an oyev Torah. She'd never have a mean in the world that he's going to come home at night. And therefore, it was easy for her. So how do you get... That's why I didn't think that you have to do mechazik ladies. I didn't think you have to mechazik ladies because I thought, like all the ladies, they have such an ava for Torah. That the men, they need chizik to go out because they have to actually learn. But the women, what do they need the chizik for? The murdik gazach to go, and the fact that the husband goes and it's, forget, that's probably the biggest simcha for them, right? The only thing is that mistama, where does it come from such an incredible avos Torah? Mistama, if the wife sees that the husband, he always is trying to learn Torah, and he's always trying to, he's always clapping a moment here and a moment there, not at the expense of things, like, not at the expense of her, not at the expense of children, but and then she sees that, and that's what generates in her that tremendous ahavas Torah. And the Maisa, Yerushalayim Eden, and we're learning in Mei Sharim, and Mei Sharim is the home of a lot of the Kanayim. Right? So I have to tell a story about Kanayim, right? So what's the story? There was once a great Jew. His name was Rabbi Pesach Frank. He was the Rav of Yerushalayim, but he was the Rav of the Rabbanut. He was the Rav Rashi. He was the Rav of the Rabbanut. So there was the head of the Kanoim, Butaka. He's the very famous name in Meishar, and he's a big Kanoi, and his grandchildren are big Kanoim. The great grandchildren are big Kanoim. It's mamish the family business, the big Kanoim. So they once asked him, how come he goes and he hacks after everybody? He gives everybody a hard time. The only person he doesn't ever start up with is Rabbi Pesach Frank. And that was his neighbor. The only person he doesn't start up with was Rabbi Pesach Frank, and that was his neighbor. And of all the people in the world, and he's mamish, the Aviavis, he's mamish like the Rav Rashi, he's the Rav of the Rabbanut. So what's he going to answer? Maybe he'll say he's such a big guy. The Kanayim, they don't care about these things. Right? So he told him like this. He said, look, I'm his next door neighbor. That's why you're asking me. So he said, when he moved in those days, Yerushalayim homes, paper thin walls and paper thin everything. So he said, so one time he was listening to a conversation between him and his wife when they had just moved in. So Tzvi Pesach was sitting and learning. It was late at night. He said he was coming back home, and it was late out from like a hafganah or something. So he came back home and he walks into this, and it was Taka, he walks into his own house and he hears that Tzvi Pesach Frank is sitting and learning with Shana Niggin. And then all of a sudden the Niggin stops and he hears Tzvi Pesach turn to his wife and say to her, Rebbetzin, there's no candles. I need candles. The candle just burned out. So she said, no, there's no more candles. That's it. No more. So he said, okay, but to make sure tomorrow morning you go right to the Makolet and buy a candle, because how am I going to learn? I need to learn Torah into the middle of the night. There's no electricity in those days. So I need to learn Torah into the middle of the night. So I make sure that I have candles. So she says, candles. There's no more money. There's no more anything. There's no more candles. No more. So he said, oh, hey, he had such tsar. You could hear it in his voice. What terrible tsar. And his wife also, they had such tsar, the two of them. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So finally his wife had an idea. She said, we have 2 beds. What do you need 2 beds for? What do you need 2 beds? We'll sell one of the beds, and it's a good bed, so we can make a lot of money in Yerushalayim in those days, sell a bed. And with that, we'll be able to buy candles. So Tzvi Pesach had a kasha. What was the kasha? The kasha is, okay, but, what's going to do with sleeping? The reason we have 2 beds is because we're 2 people. Tzvi Pesach was a big going. So mamish a big kasha. So Tzvi Pesach's wife said, what's schwer? What's schwer? I said, look, I'll sleep half the night. You'll sleep half the night, and we'll switch off hands, right? Because for Torah, it's worth it, right? And she said, the way I see you learn Torah, it's worth it. For the way you learn Torah, it's worth it. So I'll sleep half the night, you'll sleep half the night. So the head of the Kanoim, he said, so the answer is like this. I start up with people. With malachim, I don't start up. That's just a person who can sell his bed and sleep half the night. And this. With malachim, I don't start up. But you see over there that taka has to come together. When the husband and wife have that mordika ahava for Torah, that the husband says, what are we going to do? And she says, we'll sell the bed. And then so that a person has to give over that hergish. That means when he comes into the house today, he has to, I'm sure yesterday also, he has to give over that incredible hergish of, Ashreinu Mantei Chilkeinu, that we were zeicher to go back to a base medrash. He has to give over that same geschmack. He should show his wife that Rashi. Rashi says in Tilim and Pei Dalit, Rashi says Pasuk Yudalef. Rashi says it's better to be in a base medrash one day than 1,000 years of a life of Torah and mitzvahs. But the base medrash beats everything. So he shows his wife such a Rashi. So then she's going to say, you know what? Taka, it's kedai for you to Taka to go to the base. She might send you with one of the kids, but she'll tell for sure it's kedai for you to go to the base medrash. So you definitely are responsible to be mechazik your own wives, and that's not my job. That's your job. That's your job to be mechazik your own wives. So that's why I didn't speak about it yesterday. Here's me over here. What should you guys say? What should you say? What do you mean? Your wives don't need to have that Messiah's nevish. They said they get to sit next to you. They're probably hiding under the table listening to the shir. Right? All the little fiscus girls, they're there the whole time anyway. Okay.
Rabbi, it's even harder. We're sitting here listening to show.
Chizik, right? You always need chizik. So let me get Rabbi say let's get back to the halachas over here, the halachas of salt and whatnot. So let's see Rabbi say, first of all, so the Shulchan Aruch we saw yesterday talks about
We've lost the Rabbi.
everyone hears me? I'm talking to no. Everyone sees me. You know why? Because I didn't happen for everyone hears me? See me at Ali? Frozen. My internet connection is unstable. Kallus cautious. Kallus cautious. Only a few weeks ago, Rabbi Kallus didn't know how to use a computer. Now he's got to. Now you see me? Do you hear me? You see me? No, Duvy's frozen.
Yeah, it's working.
Sorry.
It's working, Rabbi.
Ruben sees me, hears me, frozen. You hear me and see me? Danny, you do too?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're right. Everyone hears me and sees me.
Yeah.
Let me just have this one going. Just in case. Yeah, digging's a good idea in this type of matzah. Actually, it makes no sense. This one has no internet. Okay, fine. Everything's working. Okay, so let's go. That's our chef. So now, but it's okay. Kallus cautious, everybody say. All right? David's implanted on the picture going like this. You see me? You hear me? Yeah, Rabbi Meiser, you hear me and see me? Everybody's frozen. Yes. Okay. So, is everybody say the gabe salt? And these sugyas are very big sugyas. Everybody say the gabe, the sugya of kashrus, basar b'chalav in general. All types of kashrus sugyas are all telling you knowing the klirishin, the eroy, all the different shilas. Most of the kitchen shilas you get are people that accidentally put milchiks inside a sink together with fleischicks, or use the fleischik sink and there's boiling hot water coming out, touching milk like a kalim, fleischik kalim, things like dishwashers. A lot of them are telling these svars, the svars of eroy, etc. So we have to get this clear. Let's finish up first the sugyas of salt and whatnot. Maitza, it's very interesting. We spoke yesterday about uncooked salt. I'm going to go into this mitzias now in a moment and try to get to what exactly the mitzias is. But we spoke about uncooked salt. I'm just being samich on you, Ali, to tell me that. Okay. We talked about uncooked salt. The gabi cooked salt. So it's very interesting. It's not so known, but the Mogen Avram, the Panim Iris, the Maxis Shekel, the Panim Iris is in Pei Dalid, the Mogen Avram is in Lamed Aleph, the Maxis Shekel is in Lamed Aleph, the Pri Megadim is in Lamed Aleph. They all go that a soluble, that means a cooked item like a salt, a sugar, etc. Any item that's cooked, that when you go and put it into a liquid, on that we say Ein Bishul Achar Bishul, and you're allowed to take it and put it straight into a klirishin. You're allowed to put it straight into a klirishin. Okay, you won't be able to put it onto the fire because once it goes onto the fire, it's that's a problem. Maybe Mexican vashel, just like it comes out that I could take water and I could take boiling hot water from the herb and pour it straight down onto the sugar, onto the salt. Now we're going to learn in Mitzvah Shem. There's a separate problem. There's a problem of moilid. There's another problem, the problem of moilid, that you're taking something and making it go from a solid and they pouring, geasing the water straight down onto the sugar, onto the salt. It takes it and changes it from a solid to a liquid, which would be a problem of a moilid. Let's see. That's Hashem. But that was the sheet. Let's say you would just take the let's say, for example, you take the sugar and salt and put it on the side of the cup, and now you take the boiling hot water and you make it go straight into the kli. Agam, the water then afterward makes a right turn and goes and hits the sugar and the salt. It's not so pashut that's going to be called moil. But the moiled aspect we'll talk about in Mitzvah. We'll see anyways, lalacha, we're not going to be so mekel on this. But they held that cooked salt, cooked sugar, has a din of ein bishul, achar bishul, ein bishul, achar bishul, b'davar lach. And therefore, it's mutter to take cooked salt, cooked sugar, and put it inside a kli rishon. That was the sheet of the Panamirs, the Mogen Avram, the Pri Megadim, the Maxis Sheka. Now, the Maisa, the Mishabru over here says not like that. Mishabru says that you shouldn't do that, at least as a lechatchila. For sure, Medina. The truth is that the Mishabru is, he brings the Mogen Avram here. Mishabru says, lechatchila, don't put it in a kli rishon. But the Mishabru says you can put cooked salt, cooked sugar in a kli sheni. We explained this the other day. What was the reason why the Mishabru is machmir? We saw that Rabbi Moshe says one reason, because you might come to mistake cooked salt, cooked sugar, you might come to mistake it for an uncooked salt. And therefore, Rabbi Moshe says how to say that's only by salt, but not by sugar. Because by sugar, there's no such thing as uncooked sugar. And therefore, Rabbi Moshe holds that mi'ikar adin, you could put cooked salt, cooked sugar inside a kli rishon. Elamite is exera by salt. Don't put it inside a kli rishon because you'll come to make a mistake and put uncooked salt inside a kli rishon. Mishabura brings, sounds like, Mishabura is not so clear. We'll have to talk about this as we go later further. But the Mishabura brings over here, the Maxacheko brings over here a different reason why to be machmer, not to put cooked salt, cooked sugar, even into a kopanim, a kli rishon, not a kli sheni. He goes with a different malach. The malach is that even though we know that when you have a salad, we say ein bishul achar bishul, and that we say that once you have a salad, and it was previously cooked, we say ein bishul achar bishul. But what happens when you have a liquid that was previously cooked? So when you have a liquid that was previously cooked, we say yesh bishul achar bishul hakopanim b'davar lach in the kli rishon. In a kli sheni, we were always mako. That's why we said you could take the tea cents and you can put the tea cents inside a kli sheni, not inside a kli rishon. So now, what happens when I have a davar yavesh that turns into a davar lach? What's the din? So the truth is, we'll see it's a sugya later on and see if that's well. And it sounds like over there that if you have something that congeals, when you put it on top of the hot plate, it starts out a davar solid, and then slowly over time it turns into a liquid. It sounds like over there that it's mutter because we look at it the shah that when you put it on, it was ein bishul achar bishul b'davar yavish, and the fact that eventually it turns into a lach, that doesn't seem to be something that bothers us. What's the hezbollah davar? I guess the hezbollah is that when I put it on, yavish is the ein bishul achar bishul b'davar yavish. No, afterward, by the time it gets to a liquid, it's already warm, it's already hot, and therefore I guess it's connected. You see, it still has a yachas to the original cooking process, and on that we the other thing. I guess tomorrow we'll have to. Yeah, I think we can do that. Third time. Maybe ask him if he downloaded on this. Just open it for him. Sorry. It's my time to download it, and I have a wire. Yeah, we're Bez Hashem, we're working on it. Kallus cautious. Now they see me? What? It's going to sugar and salt. Totally sorry to kli rishon. Asian fakvim, but totally sorry to kli rishon. What? Computer back. Maybe I should move the computer back. over there with Wi-Fi? Does it make sense that this should be closer to the Wi-Fi? Yes? Airplane, no. Was that? No? Okay. Okay, everybody say it's working now. That's Hashem. For those that are behind the computer screen, by tomorrow everything should be worked out. We have the other computer and we're attaching it with a hard wire. That's Hashem. For those that are here, I feel worse for you guys. I'm sorry. Connection is good for now. That's Hashem. Okay. Okay, everybody say, call up and therefore everyone will have audio. All right. I can't do it now. That's Hashem. Tomorrow, that's Hashem. All this will be prepared before the share. Now, the Maisa, when it comes to, but yeah, maybe everyone should turn off the video. No shaykhs. Okay, but everybody said, whoever's behind the computer screen, don't give up hope. Today it might not work the way it looks like it's not going to work. And by tomorrow, I'll be connected with a hard wire, and then Bez Hashem will have no problems. Bezrat Hashem Yisbarach. Kallus cautious. Kallus cautious. It's going even on this. Even on when you want to try to learn Torah. It's going, what do you think it's going on? It's not going on a bad thing. So the Maisa, that's what it says. That when you take salt, and you're going to tell me when I phases it. When you take salt and you take sugar, the Shabura says you're allowed to put it inside a kli rishon. You shouldn't put it inside a kli rishon. What's the pshat? It starts out as solid, and when something starts out as solid, so then we say that we look at it in its solid form. So why do we care about the fact that when it starts out as solid, it ends up in liquid? We should say Ein Bishul Achar Bishul B'Davar Lach. Ramosha has his reason that Ramosha goes with it. The fact is we're going to be chayshish that maybe a person's going to come to make a mistake and he's going to come to use uncooked salt. But the Machzor Shekel says that's not the chashash. He said the chashash is that when you take a cooked product and you put it inside and it dissolves, it's soluble. So then we have to give it the din of a liquid. That's a steer to what we said. So here you have to say Yisrael, which again, Mr. Hashem, when we learn Tezvav, we'll see it more. I'm trying to bring out what's the chaos. We'll see that's Hashem, that when it comes to, this is a big insight, when you take salt and you put it into boiling hot water, you take sugar, you put it into boiling hot water, it dissolves miyad. It dissolves immediately. And therefore, what happens is that it dissolved miyad, but it didn't cook miyad, because we always say it takes time to cook. So therefore, you take a solid, for example, some type of a congealed gravy or whatever. So there, it takes time for it to turn into a liquid. And by the time it turns into a liquid, it's already warm. It's already hot. Mashenkin over here, when you're taking the salt that goes in, it happens immediately. So therefore, immediately it turned into a liquid. So therefore, it's like taking a liquid that was previously cooked, which now is a din of a liquid. And that you're not allowed to put inside a kli rishon, you're only allowed to put inside a kli shein. That would be the svar of the Mishabura. And that's Hashem. We're going to go back. We'll come back to this. You can ask on this like somewhat of a klotz kasha. It's somewhat of a klotz kasha, which somebody asked on Shabbos. Maisa, we forgot to take out. It was the Erev Tafshilim. We have a few stories, but we forgot to take out the chicken soup. We didn't take out the chicken soup, so the chicken soup was in an ice cube. It was in a box, right? It was the original plan was to take it out on Shabbos and Yontif and to go and cook it for Shabbos. So somebody asked the Shaila, why don't we say it's a Ein Bishul Achar Bishul B'Davar Yavish? Right now it's in the form of an ice cube. How do you answer the kasha? Right now it's in the form of an ice cube, and it takes a long time until it gets there. So why don't we say Ein Bishul Achar Bishul B'Davar Yavish? There's many ways to answer this question. What? Chicken soup is cooked. You cook what? It never started out of the oven. Okay. So what? The way we just said it, it wouldn't be so schwer. Shaz, if you can say something a little bit more pasha. Yeah. Okay, I'll let you think about it. It's b'vadai not true. But let's say more aggressive. The Mogen Avram seems to say it's mutter. Right? The Mogen Avram, the Paramir, the Pri Megadim, the Machzor Shekel, they all, and Moilid, Rabbi Danziger, I'm trying to deal on the Raisidical level of you. So Rabbi Sher says, okay, maybe the feed the Mishabura Taka, we have an answer. But let's say the feed the Mogen Avram. The Mogen Avram says you can take salt and put it straight into a kli rishon. You can take sugar and put it straight into a kli rishon. right? Why? Because even though immediately it turns into a liquid, but who cares? We look at the product which is in front of us. The product in front of me is a solid. I take a solid and I turn it into a liquid. It takes time for that to occur. So that l'chayr should be mutter, right? Agree with that? Look over there. You understand what I'm saying, Rabbi Shah? According to the Magen Avraham, can I take salt and sugar and put it straight into a kli rishon? A kli rishon off the fire, let's say. According to the Magen Avraham, mutter. Previously cooked salt, previously cooked sugar. Right? I could. No, what's the reason why? Because we look at the chefs in front of you. The chefs in front of you is yavish. So now we say, ein bishul achar bishul, but yavish. The fact that afterward it turns into a lach, who cares? So that's exactly what happens by a cube of soup. Yeah, this is the worst question in the history of the world. But I want the Olam to answer. Think about it. Somebody's got frozen in a liquid form. So that has a shape of a yavish. Really? Why does it have a shape of a yavish? Why is that? So you have to think about it. But you have to have a Agdara to answer this question, right? Rabbi Danziger, this is not a question mitzat tuchumas. We're trying to figure out that chicken soup in an ice cube is probably an issa deraisa. Lefi those shitas that hold that yesh bishul achar bishul b'davar. So then it's not going to help over here to say chumras or not chumras. Just flush it. Why is a chicken soup which is frozen like a chicken soup which is not frozen? Who wants to answer? It's what? Yeah. It's daviyavish.
So the chicken soup is frozen.
Yeah.
So just like the juice in the form of a fruit.
Yeah. So the Maisa, Rabbi Balzim just said in the middle of Meishar that you could take a cube of chicken soup, lulei the mud. You could take it, put it on an upside down pan on a very, very hot blech, and take the chicken soup and cook the chicken soup on Shabbos. In Meishar, they would kill you. But that's what you just said. Because he's saying it's a davar yavish, and bishul achar bishul, but davar yavish. What? Why is frozen not yavish? You guys aren't saying the right answer. Now I understand why Zoom is usher on Shabbos. Okay, your place like this is an example of a question which is a klutz kasha, but you don't want to be a klutz. So I'm going to let you think about it. And now that you guys are back to chavrusis, and now that you guys, right? Because when you cook it, it's like Rabbi Danziger says he's very bothered by this child. But Danziger, he's trying every answer here. He's very bothered. He says, "What do you mean? When you cook it, it was lach. I hear. Okay, said it. You don't have to bring up past history, but now it's not lach. Now it's not lach. Now it's yavish. The worst question in the world. Okay. When it recooks, he keeps on trying. What's the point when it recooks? When it recooks, it gets lach. Okay, but by the time it gets there, that's already not my maisa. It's the same thing when I take salt and sugar and I put it inside a kli rishon. The Magen Avraham says it's mutter to take salt and sugar and put it inside a kli rishon. Why not take salt and I a second later it turns into the liquid. The teretz is because we look at it, b'shas maisa. So I'm doing my maisa mitzvah. What? Not disappeared. It's considered that it's we consider it dissolved. It's not disappeared. So you should think about how to answer it, Rabbi side, but it's a klutz kasha. What? Why is it not being mivashal? Huh? Yeah, the actual soup. So, you want to say which way? You want to say? Okay, think about it. Rabbi side, think about it. Let me get right. Now, it's a good shot to think about, no? It's a good shot to think about. Cold, uncooked water? What do you mean? What about uncooked water? If what? Right? Uncooked water. But this is cooked water. It's cooked. We're asking every time you have a cube of chicken soup, asking ain bishul ach bishul in a dover yavish. And I'm going to say that later it will turn into liquid. The Magen Avraham doesn't care. He says he can take salt and sugar and put it straight into a kliyusha. So why can't I take this boiling hot chicken soup? I can't put it on the blech because that's a problem. Merci. But why can't I take it and put it on an upside down pan? What's the answer? The bottom drop cooks when you put it in. He's trying hard over there. He doesn't like it. He says, what do you mean? There's one little drop, but that's not b'shas ma'isa. It takes time. It takes a few seconds. Right? Who cares? No different than the salt. When I put, forget it. Even if it doesn't take a few seconds. So Rabbi Rashkin screamed out. Rabbi Rashkin screamed out with 14 exclamation points. Right? Because that's what he says. Also, he says because that's not a davar yavish. Chicken soup is not a davar yavish. Chicken soup is a davar lach. Really? Yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow, Rabbi said, we'll fix it. Don't worry. Okay. Rabbi said, let me get weiter. Let's go weiter. That's a Kodesh Baruch Hu's way of saying enough of this Shiloh Rabbi Danziger, and we have to go weiter. But you should know, Rabbi Danziger sent so many messages. I think he's the one that caused the freezing of all of the cameras and caused the Meir Sharp. That's Hashem. We'll fix it. Now, Rabbi said, let me get weiter. The Kallus cautious. Now, another thing, Rabbi said, taking cooked salt, and putting cooked salt onto a piece of boiling hot potato kugel in a kli rishon. Cooked salt is not what we spoke about yesterday. Taking cooked salt and putting it onto a boiling hot piece of potato kugel on a kli rishon. What's it then? Or boiling hot dry chocolate. Right? These are very normal cases, right? Are you allowed to take boiling hot? Are you allowed to take salt and put it on boiling hot potato kugel? Cooked salt. So what should be? The fee what you're seeing over here. So if you're a Moshe, that Moshe said that the reason why you have to be machmir on salt, if you are going to be machmir, is because you're going to come to mistake it for uncooked salt. No, so there's no difference. You should be machmir even taka on a piece of potato kugel, because you might come to make a mistake and take uncooked salt. That's the whole chumrah. The whole chumrah is you might take something cooked. If you take something cooked, you might take something uncooked. According to the reason that we just gave, the reason the Machzor Shekel, that the reason is because it dissolves, and since it dissolves, we give it a status of a liquid. So if you feed this, you should be allowed to take uncooked salt and put it onto a piece of potato cook. Okay, and that's l'chayra what the lochal l'mais is. It's very negah. It's mamish geh. And the truth is Ramesh is a chiddush, and we are machmir. Tack on the panamiris, we're machmir now. So you see, we take on the ikra din. What do we take on? We take on that the reason why we're machmir on salt when it's cooked in the kli rishon is because that we consider it to be something that dissolves to be a davar lach. So Rabbi, that far we're not going to go. In other words, cooked salt in the first place is an unbelievable chumrah, because uncooked salt, me'ikar din, is mutter to take uncooked salt and put it in a kli rishon. No, so if you could take even uncooked salt and put it in a kli rishon, and we're just machmir on cooked salt when it comes to putting it inside a kli rishon, because we're going to chayshish that it's considered a soluble, it's considered like but that far to take it and to go and be machmir when it's cooked salt and put it onto potato kugel, that far we're not going to be machmir. And the you can be makel on this, even in a kli rishon. Sugar will be makel too. Sugar will make to take cooked sugar. Also, all sugar is cooked. Very again, we'll see in a minute. Today, because all sugar is already cooked. So then right away. Anytime I want to take sugar, where are you putting sugar on a hot, boiling hot thing? Anybody have something sugar that you put on boiling? You want to put on your shalmi kugel. Why would you put boiling hot Yishami kugel? Why would you put sugar on it? Because that's what you do. Right? That's what you do. So now you take sugar. Could you put it on a piece of boiling hot? No. Rabbi Siegel, it's not going to help me coffee over here. I'm talking about on a davar gosh. I'm talking about on a salad that it does not dissolve. So now you have no reason to be machmir. Mitzad the fact that it's cooked, it's cooked. Ein bishul achar bishul b'davar yavish. Elamai normally we're machmir because it dissolves and it goes inside the liquid. It's not going to dissolve. So this should be l'chayra alach l'maisa. Alach l'maisa. This is what comes out. Maisa. So now take this all together. Rabbi Brownie. Rabbi Fiske says hot brownie. A hot brownie. Right? That's a very normal thing. Is that the brownie doesn't have enough sugar? That was not so normal, Rabbi Fiskus. You just said that on camera. But he just said it's not enough of boiling hot cake. He wants to, I'm trying to be nice to the guys on the computer, right? He wants to take a boiling hot piece of cake and he wants to put on sugar, okay? And not everybody's, teach their own, right? Or he has a wife that may, not him, but like it's a person has a wife, sometimes the older people, the older generation, they make like this chocolate that has like no chocolate on, So you have to, the old man type of, you go to your Bobby and Sadie, and they put on like the worst cake, and it tastes like stale challah. Not my Bobby and Sadie, they're in the island, but it's mamish the worst cake. So what do? You don't want to insult the Bobby and Sadie, and they're all excited about it. They make it hot, or you take like a hot apple. You take a boiling hot apple that you cooked on a hot plate. You left it there cooking on Erev Shabbos, and now it makes this is a way to get it out of making compote. You don't have to work hard. Just take an apple, put it on top of the, no. But then it's not such a, you want to put some sugar on it. And your wife, she's like one of these healthy people, nuts. You take sugar, you pour it on, and mutter. Lefidus, it's mutter because Bishul. The davar yavesh, and it's mutter. Okay. Now with this, if I say we go into some a little bit interesting shilas about salt today. So now that you know, because this is where it's together. Kids, so let's make a sikkum what we saw today. To take salt, which is previously cooked, the halacha l'maisa is that you can always put it in a kli for sure. Certainly no shayla in a kli. You can put it in even midina, a kli rishon. Nafkaminas, you could certainly put it in a potato kugel or a salad, and even in a liquid. The Mishabura says to be machmir. Mishabura's lashon is toivli zayir. So a person wants to be zayir. It's good to be zayir. If you see somebody not being zayir, maybe you don't have to say if they don't know from these things. But it's toiv to be zayir in a kli rishon when it's soluble in a liquid kli rishon, but not in a solid kli rishon. The only thing that does bother me a little bit in the Mishabura, it's not the kasha. It's not a kasha. Why did the Mishabura? And you should say that in a liquid is where I have chumrah. And in a salad, why did the Mishnah say it? He says, Toiv Lizar in a Kli Rishon. He should have said, Toiv Lizar in a Kli Rishon when it's a liquid Kli Rishon. But it's not such a kasha, because over here you see in the Paiskim, interesting to try to why, but it seems to be over here when they refer to Kli Rishon, they're always referring to liquids. Yesh Ladim B'zeh. Allah L'maisa, what I said is true. No matter what, even if you're nervous, Rabbi say, even cooked salt, even uncooked salt, technically you're allowed to put in a Kli Rishon, Medina. No, so cooked salt, which is a chumras of the chumras, certainly on a davar gosh, certainly on something which is, a salad, you don't have to have this chumra if it's a previously cooked salt or sugar for that matter. Mashenke, uncooked salt, Medina, when here, from the Ramah, not to do it in a cliche even, and everybody here wants the bracha from the Ramah, and therefore you shouldn't even do it Ramah. Uncooked salt and put it inside a davar gosh in a klisheni. Mistama, by the time you get klishlishi of a zevite, mistama, you could be meko, and even the bracha of the Ramah you probably wouldn't get if you weren't meko. The chayra, another Ramah bracha, mistama, if you took that with a spatula or something and you go and put it inside a klishlishi when it's an uncooked salt, mistama, the Ramah is not going to give you a bracha for being machmer and that. Mistama, whether Ramah said that, that's. Right, so let's get practical. Salt. What's the metzias today in the market of salt? So there's a Sefer Orva Shabbos. He printed out his first printing of the Sefer Orva Shabbos. So he wrote originally that there's different types of salt, and he made a statement that I don't remember one because I don't have the original printing, but he wrote one of them is cooked, previously cooked, and it gets the rules like we just explained, and one of them is not previously cooked. I think he said that the melech, which is called melech, melech bishul. I think cooking salt is not cooked. I think that's what he wrote over there. It's not important. We'll see in a moment. But cooking salt, I think he says that is previously is not previously cooked. Mashenkin melech shulchan, table salt is previously cooked. That's what he writes, and therefore it'll be based. You'll now apply all of these halachas based on that. Then what happened was he put out an advertisement in the Yated, the Israeli Yated. Americans didn't get the Sefer yet. I don't think they got the first printing. And he put out an advertisement, mamish, a full page advertisement, and he wrote that mamish, it's a mistake because he found out that the salt. This was like by him the biggest mistake in the Sefer, because he found out that the salt was mamish baked. It was baked. It wasn't cooked, right? Even the ones that we call table salt, and therefore you can't assume that your table salt, you can't assume is taka something that you're allowed to put inside a kli rishon, inside a kli sheni, because you still have to get the chumrah of the Ramah, the tavla bracha, the Ramah, whatever. The way he wrote the law is okay. That's not the issue, but that's what he wrote in the new version. So that he basically writes like this. He writes, salts are very not clear. Sometimes they are taka cooked, right? And many times they're not cooked and they are dried out for half an hour in an oven. And it's basically a baking process. And once it's a baking process, he has it sad to say, therefore, maybe you even have to be machmir all the way to a kli shlishi. You have the lashon in. Thank you. Open up the Sivan test, Rabbi Paulson. What? Yeah, I mean, from the York Shabbos. It's not the bracha from the Rama, but it says melech mevushal. Okay, then he goes on to say what's melech mevushal. Then he says on the bottom, so yesh mif'alim that they cook this, like we say, and some don't, and some that they dry it out in an oven for half an hour. And then he says it should be a din of afiyah achar yivash, bishul achar afiyah. He says, maybe it's bishul gar. Okay, so he goes on. He says, "Toiv lizar." He says, if the mark is clean, you get a tavla bracha. Okay? That tavla bracha. Why? Why you get a tavla bracha? So he says, because since it's possible, thank you, right? Since it's possible that so now that which we said that salt doesn't cook, the only time salt cooks is mamish, like if you put it inside Bishul the Torah. That's maybe if it didn't have a process that was done to it. Right? If it had a process already that was done to it, so then we should have to be worried that once you have an afiyah process that was done to it, so now it becomes kale bishul. And once it becomes a kale bishul, so maybe our salt, you have to be worried not to put in a kli rishon, not to put in a kli sheni, and maybe even a kli shlishi. That kind of is what the Hilchos Shabbos says. Now, the Maisa, kapidat chumrah, so that's a very, very big chumrah. Kapidat chumrah, the chayra, it's min hanimna. Because in the first place, the Gemara says that salt in general, there's a Kabbalah on salt, that salt doesn't even cook in a kli rishon, unless it's on the fire. That means that to say that that now, to take the chumrah of yesh bishul achar afiyah, let's assume for a moment, we'll get to the Metzias in a moment, but let's assume that they bake the salt. So to take that chumrah and to say that there would be a chumrah of yesh bishul achar afiyah, which we're machmir on that, but it's a chumrah because the Rav Yah argues. Rav Yah argues and says, "Ein afiyah, ein bishul achar afiyah." Okay, we're machmir on that, but it's a chumrah. And we saw the place can use l'shaynis as trei chumras. So it's a chumrah that when you have a baked product, to go now and say that when you have a baked product, and to go and say there's a bishul on a baked product, it's a chumrah. Meaning, what's the chumrah? The chumrah, if you look in the Rav Yah says that once it was affected by heat, that made it considered to be a processed item, whatever that processing is. So then you can't do anything else to process it. And it's a gather of a mitztamik v'yafala. Avada, something happens now when you bishul it, but it's a gather of a mitztamik v'yafala. So the first thing is that maybe we don't say the chumrah, and we just say, ein bishul achar afiyah. We're machmer, it's chumrah number one. Second of all, chumrah number two is that maybe salt, the only way you can cook salt is with fire. There's no way, maybe that's chumrah number two. Maybe the only way possibly to cook salt is with fire. That's a lashon of the Gemara. Bishul the Torah. Elamai, we're machmer. But two chumras, we're not going to be machmer. Now, to take that chumrah and to go told us that we get a bracha and to go apply it to a kli shlishi, where the Mishabur tells us that nothing cooks in a kli shlishi unless it's something that's dak virach. Now we know one thing about salt. Halacha l'maisa salt is not considered dak virach. That's for sure. That's the greatest Kabbalah that we have about salt, is that it's not considered rach v'dak. Elamai, maybe you have the svara of Bishul Zalman, that's something that got cut up very small, but salt was always cut up small. You see in Mishnayos, it's not going to go over here, this type of svara. So therefore, halacha l'maisa, no matter what, we'll see in a minute the mitzias, but whatever you heard still stays the same. Even if you're going to have salt, which was baked, it's certainly not going to be worse. Now the question is, will it be better? But there's no question that it's not worse. It's not going to be that you're going to get a bracha. There's no bracha if you decide to not put salt in a kli shlishi. It's felt in the Mishkal Chasidus, because you're not going to get the oynik, because now you're going to have a kli shlishi. Mashenka, you'll have more oynik Shabbos if you have a kli sheni. So therefore, put it into the kli shlishi. Now, is that the shas can we be more mako? Could we be more mako? Could we be mako and say that now that it's baked, so I could taka falazich and not be machmir? I don't have to be machmir ad kedei kach and put it into a klisheni, and I could still be make. I'm sorry, I don't have to be machmir and not put it in a klisheni. I just have to be machmir and not put it in a klirisha. Shas, if we could say now, can we say trei chumras on that? That's an interesting shas. I think the exact opposite of the Aruch HaShabbos. Now that he's saying that the salt is baked, so now maybe there's as far to say that now that they bake up the salt and they process the salt. So number one, there's some shittas that are all day in Bishul Acharfiyah. So now every time you're looking at salt, you're looking at something that in general, maybe the only way to cook it is when you have a real fire. Number two, the only way to cook it when you have a real fire is if it's something that was never cooked. But over here, now that they did a baking process to it, so maybe pum fakert. And therefore the salt, the fides, we're not going to say trei chumras. We're not going to go and be so machmir and say that to go and that you can't even put it inside a klisheni. I was wondering maybe you could even put it inside a klisheni. I said it's a new shaila. Don't know. Does anybody know? Anybody ever right? Anybody right? I don't know. Is there any reason why? It's mamish to be machmir over here. It's not what the Mishabur is talking about. Mishabur is talking about, and I have another side, which is something I want to stop to think about. There's two types of salts out there that they're baking. One is that they're taking a salt and they're drying the salt out from any moisture out of sight. First they strain it from water and then they dry it out till it's totally dry. I just have a thought. Who says that that's not called bishul? That's just a thought. It's a thought. In other words, it's a very moist item, right? That's what they do. They take the salt, they filter out all the water, and then you're left with the salt, and then they just basically heat it. They just keep it in an oven for like a half an hour, and when you see the process, you see it's not really a baking process because it would destroy it if it was a proper baking. They do a very, very drying process. They do some type of a drying process, which led me to believe two things. Number one is I don't know if it's all baked, which therefore I don't know if what I said applies. Maybe all they're doing is drying it out, and maybe it doesn't process it enough to be considered baked. And maybe the opposite. Maybe it's mamish cooking it, because the moisture inside. So therefore, I do not know. I don't know. If anybody wants to take one of these svaras and find out which one of them is true, then let me know. But until then, I think salt stays the same. There's no way you have to be more machmir, not put it into a kli shlishi. I don't think you should be makel and put it into a kli rishon. And it seems to be that this process, noita, is not the way it's described in the Sefer Aruch HaShabbos. It's not a baking process at all. It's a drying process. And if it's just a drying process, it's not called bake b'chlal. It doesn't necessarily have the effects of the heat to such an extent that it baked it. And therefore, I don't even know if it goes into the parsha of ein, like we were saying, ein bishul acharfiyah. I would think that maybe it's considered that it was never nispashal, it was never nefa, it was never anything. And that it would have a din of salt, which was never processed at all. And therefore, like we said, tavala bracha, don't put it even in a klisheni, but akapon in a klishlishi would be mutter. Is that crystal clear, Rabbi? Now, I did see one more thing. I saw that there's a sefer called the Sefer Kallus. Sefer Kallus, it's a sefer, it was written by Rabbi Feldberger from America. And he has like on Hilchos Shabbos, it's written really to teach children and students and whatnot. So in the back of there, when he was teaching Bishul, so he has a whole interesting thing about salt there. And I spoke to him years ago when I gave Bishul years ago. If I remember the correct conversation, from the conversation, and you put it together with you put the conversation that I'm about to have. They're asking about a ladle that could be made on. In other words, he wants to know does my ladle make my soup bowl into a kli shlishi enough so that I could put my salt, that far, The Ramah's not going to give you a bracha for now. That's the question. That's how we have to answer when we're asking the question, we have to understand. The question is not mutter also. Of course, it's mutter to put salt in the bowl that a ladle was used. That's not a shayla. We have to know, is the Ramah going to give me a bracha if I don't put salt in a bowl that I use the ladle to get this, not soap, never put soap in a bowl, but that I don't put soup in a bowl. If I decide not to put salt in a bowl, that a ladle, put the soup in that bowl, the Ramah's stomach, he's not going to give you a bracha. You're not going to get a bracha from the Ramah. So I had a conversation with Rabbi Feldberg about 10 years ago. Maybe I should try to refresh that conversation. But from what I remember, the conversation, plus what I saw in the Sefer today, it went something like this, that the salt doesn't get cooked today to 212 degrees. It doesn't get cooked to 212. It gets cooked to about 170. It gets cooked to 170. Now, the shaila is that we go back to the shaila. What's 170? Is that called cooking? Right? We know klape water, the din of water is that water, we said, is a whole shaila, going from 170 to 212. So what's the din by salt? Is that called that we cooked it up and therefore the salt was cooked? Right? So he says, look, I think that's what he writes in the Sefer. No, l'maisa to shaila, So what do you want to know? You want to know if what? If you have to be machmir on what? We're anyways trying to get the brachas of the mishabura. So we're not taking even cooked salt and putting it inside a kli rishon. So where we put in cooked salt? We're putting cooked salt in a kli sheni. No, by the time you get to a kli sheni, it's probably going to be less degrees than anyways what it was cooked up to. Right? It's usually, like we said, it's a rare thing that you'll have yad nichlis, but it's rare. And therefore, no. Plus the whole thing is a chumrah. The ganze Zach is a chumrah. Even on salt, and maybe this is called cooked. Maybe klape salt, that's enough. It got to 170. So that's what he writes over there. That basically you can assume that the salt, he's talking about specific salts. So he says, he wrote the book, and then in Eretz Yisrael, he wanted to put out the Sefer in Eretz Yisrael. But in Eretz Yisrael, they told him that he can't put out the Sefer. Because in Eretz Yisrael, it's not true. They don't cook it up to 170. And a lot of the salts, it's called sea salt. That's what it's interesting. You would have thought the sea salts they cook. He said the sea salts, what they do is they take the Yam salt. Sun dry. What? Oh, what they do is they sun dry it. Now, in the Eretz Yisrael salts, the store, they dafka buy the salt. They dafka want to buy the salt from America, because it makes them feel, from Eretz Yisrael, because it makes them feel like, they're connected to Eretz Yisrael and whatever. They buy like air from Eretz Yisrael, all these types of things that people do. So my feed this, you have to remember that if you're buying salt from Eretz Yisrael, you do always have to assume there's a potential that either, like I said before, they're drying it or they're sun drying it. It does seem either they should have all the same chumras, the hainu to get the bracha Ramah. Don't put it in a kli rishon, don't put it inside a kli sheni, at least lechatchila, but certainly you could put it inside a kli shlishi. That's halach l'maisa. The American salt, he writes over there, again, this book was written many years ago, and I can't take responsibility, but he writes over there that you can put it inside a kli, you can certainly put it inside a kli sheni, the American salts, because like I said, they get up to 170, and therefore, since they get up to 170, you don't have to have the chumras. And he says you don't put it in the kli rishon, like the Mishabura says, yesh lahachmir on this. Halacha l'maisa, American salts, and the rest of the world, they take no responsibility. Klape Eretz Yisrael salt, it stays the same. Is that crystal clear, Rabbi? So we have 2 minutes here to finish up, and. I say it like this. It writes that nanati. Does anybody know what nanati is? tea is. So he writes like this. He writes alei nana. What? Leaves. What? They put the leaves straight away. Should I tell you a secret? I'll tell you a secret in a minute. But Al he writes over there. So the Orlet Sion, that's Rabbi Sion Bishul. He writes in Beis Lamed Alocha Hey, Beis Lamed Alocha Hey. So he says over there that you can't put in a Kli Rishon. So for Kli Sheni, you can put it in because it's a Tavlin. And Tavlinim, you're allowed to put in a Kli Sheni. You know, just like you're going to be allowed to put in cinnamon. That's an example of a Tavlin that everyone agrees is a Tavlin. No, Zangable. What's Zangable? Anybody know? So art school says ginger. So maybe ginger. They say ginger and cinnamon and what else is there? What are and pepper? Those are the only spices that I know people take responsibility on. Pepper, those things you can put inside a Kli because they're taflin. Okay, you have a Shlem Zalman, maybe you can't because they got they're very small. He says, I'll tell you another taflin. The Shmita Shabbos Gilvasa in Eisen Test, he says you have to be machmer on this. And then the Shabbos in Eisen Mem Dalit, he says, okay, so something in the middle, not a Klisheni, but you can put in a Klishlishi. Now this already I mamish don't understand. I mean, the Orcha Shabbos has so many chumras when it comes to Klishlishi. He doesn't let us put salt in a Klishlishi. To get a bracha from their mother, I'm telling you, the mother won't give you a bracha for it. Because Taga, Ein Afia, Achar Bishul, Ein Bishul Zari Achar Afia, Ve'oid, I don't think anything actually happened to it anyways. I think all that happened to it was dried. And he doesn't let you put into a Klishlishi because maybe Klishlishi. And the Mishnah Berurah told us, nothing goes in a Klishlishi except for what? Something that's rach. Something that's rach. Dak. It's something very no Havana in the world. What could be the difference? Like the Shmir Shabbos is saying, I have no idea what could be the difference between this and a tea leaf. If on the box of the Wisatski tea, or something, a lady or something. I called last night. About 1:30 in the morning, and I got an Indian lady, and she answered my phone. I asked her like this. I asked her, tell me what's inside the nana tea. I don't know, sir. She doesn't know. So I said, is it something that they officially can answer? So she said, yeah. He said, send an email. If you send an email, we get information. We send an email, we get information. So we got the answer today. She sent back like this. She sent back inside, I don't know her, but the Chles, Wisatsky teas sent back nana tea inside the bag comes from nana leaves. That's what it is. It's a bunch of leaves that are cut up and put into a tea bag. So it just like comes out mamash and murder. No, I don't think there is any other side. Yeah, but it just comes out murder exact. It comes out that according to Orcha Shabbos, this tea you can make in a Kli Shlishi, and this tea you can't make in a Kli Shlishi. Does anybody know what's the difference between these teas and these teas? They both come from leaves that are dach v'rak. I have no havana. I don't see why in the world it should be different. If you're machmer not making tea in a Kli Shlishi, like the Mishnah Berurah is machmer, you're machmer nana. What's the pshat in the Orlet Sion? It doesn't bother me so much. I don't believe he's so machmer on the whole entire tea in general. I think by him, by the Sfardim, I think they consider it to be a taflin in the first place. It's a good shaila why it's not a taflin. We spoke full shirim why it's not a taflin. I don't know. The fee this, and I saw afterward that in page 241, he says oregano. Does anybody know what oregano is? Oregano. So oregano, he writes over there, he asked Rabbi Yashiv. Rabbi Yashiv said, oregano is dak virach. It's very, very thin. The leaves themselves are, whatever it is, it's a little spicy, very thin. He says, anytime you have something that from its inception, from its birth, was dak virach, that's this chumrah of tea. And we don't put it even into a Kli Shlishi. So I don't see the difference between a nana leaf. I don't see the difference between a tea leaf. I don't see the difference between oregano. If somebody wants to put it in a Kli Shlishi, so then you should start putting tea in a Kli Shlishi like Rabbi. If he wants to do like Rav Moshe, and the Hilchos Shabbos has a whole page against Rav Moshe, like it doesn't even cannot bring Rav Moshe's name because it was such a big mistake. And there's no tzad in the world that you can put tea in a Kli Shlishi. We got a saw that's not a big mistake. The Prima Gadim holds like that. But the Al-Kapanim, Halacha L'Maisa, I don't see any difference in the world. So Halacha L'Maisa, what comes out in this room, Al-Kapanim, is that tea and oregano and these things are probably spices. Why they're not tavlinin is a very good question. But we take on rach, the dak, things that are born dak v'rach. If they're born dak v'rach, so then you have to be machmir, not put them even inside a kli shlishi. That's what should come out. I don't know. I don't understand how it stems in the Sefer Shabbos. How could it be that salt? How could it be that salt could be worse than a nana tree? I don't know. Leaf color. That's such a strange thing. It's a very strange thing. The Maisa, Danny, do I have one more minute over here? Because we had so much problems. So many problems. No? They're all frozen. No? Ellie, they see you. We're good? Yeah, I have one more minute. Okay. So let me just say, the Salach L'Maisa, because tomorrow I want to get really, we got to start moving, Rabbi. I hope the Olam is already up to Sifit Zion, because you're going to see how scary it's going to be when I start going fast. It's going to be very scary. I just want to mention that I looked into a lot of products. I did like a quick list. I looked into a lot to make it in a Kli Shlishi, because today, and every product I'm going to say I looked into, every single product I found out that you have the potential of what I'm about to say. In other words, in every product today, there are always potential flavors, and there are always potential additions which are not cooked. If something is not cooked, that goes into our chumrah, that we don't put it into a Kli Sheni, anything that we don't know about, and we always put her into a Kli Shlishi. Basically, what I just said is cocoa, based on what you heard today. Cocoa, if cocoa is cooked, which cocoa is cooked, right? It's yeah, I know, but you would have thought for sure cocoa is cooked, right? If anything is cooked, it's cocoa. Cocoa is a chocolate bean that was cooked. So what would cocoa be daima to? It would be daima to sugar. So I would say don't put it in a Kli Rishon, and yes, put it in a Kli Sheni. That's what should come out, right? And that's what I always thought, right? Maisa, I looked into it today. If you want further reading, look in the Shmir Shabbos in the 183rd Ara and the 185th Ara. He got me intrigued into looking into the Shaila a bit more, and I looked into the various Madriche Kashras. I tried to call one, and I wasn't so successful at talking about. But it seems to be that there are products, even in cocoa, that could have non-cooked. Is that what you were referring to, Rabbi Platzker? That and it's mamish to mitzias. That part of the taste and the smell, and to make it appealing, even the color. Sometimes they'll put in their products that are not cooked. Now you could have come with chidushim and said, but that's batul. I can't say such chidushim, and therefore always put your cocoa in a Kli Shlishi, right? And I guess according to your Chashab, always put your cocoa into a Kli Shlishi and not into a Kli Sheni, because you don't know. Do you know? You don't know, right? Someone told me that the English cocoa is not cooked. Right? I don't know if it's kosher or not, but they told me Beiri, what? Cadbury. Somebody told me that it's not cooked. I don't know. He told me it's not cooked. So then you have to put her inside a Kli Shlishi, meaning there are parts. I'm not that some parts have to be. It's the same thing. Every product I looked into, I found this out today. Materna. Do you know that in Materna, there are parts that aren't cooked? You would think they just take the milk and they boil it out, or I don't know what, or they put soy and they take some soy and they shecht it and then they cook it different. The inside Materna, there are pieces that aren't cooked. There are things that aren't cooked, so you have to put her in a Kli Sheni. It's not a gaya probably, because anyways, you probably don't make it that hot, but let's say you'd have lemon juice is not cooked. Lemon juice is cooked because it's at least pasteurized. So lemon juice, you could put it in a Kli Sheni. That I looked into. You could always put lemon juice into a Kli Sheni. A saccharin. There are sacharins, certainly in different countries. In Eretz Yisrael, it seems to be, maybe I'm afraid to say, but there are certainly sacharins which have uncooked, unprocessed items in there. So you can only put her in a Kli Shlishi. One by one, everything I looked into. The Shmir Shabbos says instant coffees. So we know instant coffees were makel. I don't mean the ones that have uncooked parts that we said, what we spoke about for a long time, but a regular instant coffee, there's no shayla, you can put it into Kli Sheni, right? That's l'chayr no shayla. That's sugar. You can put sugar in cooked coffee, on a regular instant coffee. He says, but sometimes they have flavors, and the flavors aren't cooked. So I looked into this, and this I found not like he's saying, and that the flavors are cooked. But I'm not taking responsibility for this. I'm not responsibility that these things could change. I'm not taking responsibility. But when you have an instant coffee, it has to be cooked. And nowadays they write on it when it's not cooked. So therefore say it has uncooked parts, etc. You can assume everything is there is cooked because otherwise they write that it's only baked. That's what they write. But a regular taster's choice, but a taster's choice with a taste, I'm not taking a chayes, even though I would have thought that you could put it into klisheni. I'm not taking chayes. Always make it in a klishlishi just to be safe. The time it's late, there's 3 more things, I think. We had a tough day today. Danny, am I pushing you? If I go for 2 more minutes, I can finish the products. Okay, so let me just finish the products. Did I have to go for 2 more minutes? No, because it was a tough day. It's a tough day. We'll go to 558, right? We'll go to 558. The manachama. Manachama. Do you guys know what a manachama is? Right? I love you all. Hashem loves me. The manachama. You know what a manachama is? You know, manachama is like they have these so some of them are potato and some of them are, usually they're potato. Like you pour in boiling hot water and it makes like a mushy, not evil. That's not manachama, that's manach. So, and it's called zerapishtin, even without mixing it. This is a Shulchan Aruch Sivan Shin Mem. See if I think Tess over there, or Yud, I don't remember, over there. And something that the second you put the liquid in, it immediately turns into a mush. The second you put the liquid into it, that's already lush. So it's not a get to make it, but Rabbi said I looked into it today, and also it has problems of Bishul, because I thought for sure it's powdered potatoes. The potatoes have to be cooked, right? No, they have in their flavorings that were totally not cooked. So you can only put her inside a klishlishi if you'd want to make it in the first place. And anyways, you have problems of lush. The gabe, come again? So the noodle ones, certainly I wouldn't make it a klisheni, only a klishlishi, because of these flavorings, which today I see that when you go into the topic, you find out a lot of flavorings are not cooked. And therefore I'm definitely not going to take the risk. In a klishlishi, your stomach, you can make it. I don't see any reason not. No, you mean, why don't I have to worry that the flavoring is Dr. Raf? He's asking, why are you causing so much trouble with the chef? Right? He's not wearing his mask. I think his mask. I can kick you out. Adidas mask. Didn't think I was going to fancy Adidas mask. You should see what he's wearing over there. Fancy Adidas. Right? Why did you have to worry that she's oregano? Stuff is right. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you should also get an Adidas mask. You didn't have that, Shiloh. Yeah. Fancy mask. Fancy mask. Fancy mask. All right. There's 2 more things. They'll do it tomorrow, but I want to go into it tomorrow. I'm going to look into tomorrow Turkish coffee. All right. Bring it. Maybe we'll make some Turkish coffee over here. And there's one more thing is there's one of Rabbi said it's going to get better. The guy's behind the computer